Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're just a minute late because I thought I could turn my practice room into a live room, but we're all good. We're going to go ahead and add in our guests right now. But if you're joining me, that means you are here to be entertained by the topic of consumerism in the Halloween community. I'm very excited to chat with all the lovely ladies who volunteered to have this conversation with me, and I look forward to seeing everyone's feedback or input in the in the comments. So apologies, I will make sure that we have a point in here to kind of touch on anything people might want to talk, and I know for sure we will be discussing this again because it's such a in-depth conversation to have. So without further ado, let me go ahead and add my guests here. So give me just a minute while I do that. And hello, hello.
Hi.
All right, everyone slowly joining in. Waiting on just one more. We got some adjustments. Hello,
I swear to God, it was fine a minute ago, and now I'm just like, what the heckins?
It made me reverse my camera. It was like,
yeah. It made me reverse it earlier, and I was just like, do it again. And I'm like, but I reversed it a minute ago. Oh well. Success.
All right.
We're all here.
and we all made it.
Yay. All right.
Yay. Okay, wonderful. And just so anyone who's tuning into the comments knows, we are recording this so we can post it onto YouTube later, just to give it more access, because we all feel this is a great topic to be discussing and have present in the Halloween community, and we're all very excited to tackle this topic. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce all my guests, and I love on my screen right now, they're in the order I'm introducing them, so this will work great for me. So first up, we have the wonderful Cromwell Witch, also known as Bailey. She is a Halloween YouTuber turned blogger for 2023. Very excited to see all she's planning to bring to her blog, as she has to kind of balance life and can't do YouTube as full-time as she used to, but blogging will hopefully make her still approach her Halloween passions, but on a less rigorous or demanding time restraint. She has done many themed sleepover photo shoots, reminiscent of 80s vamps and slashers. So if you haven't seen those, be sure to check them out. She has a lovely time with her friend, these charmed bones. And she has a wonderful skeleton companion, Cecil. Or is it Theo?
It's Cecil.
Okay,
Cecil, my boy.
Next up, I have the Halloween collector, also known as Laura. She is a vintage Halloween style artist and collector of all the bright orange and black. Her shop, where she sells and promotes her wonderful hand-painted art, is called Halloween Hill Studio. And I forgot, I actually have little lovely cards. That's what I made them for. So give me a second. She is pretty much infamously known for her amazing Halloween office and the Halloween decor tips in her living room, and the Sleepy Hollow mural that she has hand-painted in her dining room, I believe, correct?
Yeah, totally.
And then last but not least, also the first person to volunteer to join in on this topic is Steenbergen Kittens, also known as Hilda. She is a fellow lover of spiders and Halloween. She's an artist, YouTuber known as Shenanigans Emotions, and a contributor to Never Was magazine. She does beautiful journaling and lay flat collages with her inking talents that I'm just so jealous of. So these are all the wonderful people all around, not just the United States, but around the world, that are going to be joining in on this topic, because Halloween is not just for the Americas anymore. So give me just one second.
Technically, it originated in Europe, so
Yeah.
it's never been just for the Americans.
So just in case people want to see, I have lovely little cards I made for each person. So you get all their information. So be sure. This is for Hilda, Steaming Kittens. We have for Laura, the Halloween Collector, also highlighting her shop. And we've got from Woolwich, Bailey. And I've got her lovely website in there. So be sure to check out all these lovely ladies if you're not already following them, because they definitely keep the lantern lit in my jack-o'-lantern all year round. So, all right. So without further ado, shall we go ahead and jump into our topic of consumerism in the Halloween community?
Do it.
All right. So, and hello to everyone in the comments. I'm sorry I won't be able to keep track on that. I do want to make sure we're staying in our time restraints. I'm pretty sure Instagram has moved things back to being lives can be no longer than an hour. So we want to make sure we stay on topic, but I will be sure to go back and try and catch any comments at the end of this. All right. So go ahead and drop them in there. And I apologize if I'm not a very attentive comment moderator this time around. Okay.
Yeah, also, I have a visual disability, so if somebody asks something, you're probably better off sending me a DM or leaving a comment on one of my posts, because I will miss it now. Apologies.
No worries. All right. So what is consumerism to you guys? So I have the definition here, but I'm curious, before I define it, what do you feel that consumerism is? Going very academic here.
Oh my gosh, I didn't study for the quiz, but everybody, I'll just jump in. How I think of it when I think of this specific way that we're talking about it is very much more than just like, hey, I'm buying something because I want, it's almost like an attitude towards it of like, I need to buy more. I need to buy more. I need it, when you really don't. So it's kind of like this almost obsession is how I kind of think about it. That's me.
I love that.
Yeah,
No, I agree. It's kind of like that FOMO. Even if you can be as responsible as you want and say like, okay, I'm only going to get the things that I need for my collection, or just like literally need. And then you see everybody else on the internet and they have like these cool things and you're like, oh my God, I need this too. I'm gonna miss out, you know?
Yeah, like I definitely agree. I think that it's just like capitalism is our society, and that's what we do.
Yeah.
But I think social media is based on addiction and manipulation in shopping, and that is what it's like. If you watch, there's this Netflix documentary called The Social Dilemma, and it's the people who invented social media talking about how they based it on ways to addict us so that big corporations can make money on ads. And like that is exactly what it is. It's like, oh, you see someone else doing it, we feel like we need it. We don't need it, but like that is like, it's also exciting, I think, to like be able to share it with everyone, because like before we felt like, oh well, I'm the only one who likes this, and now everyone likes it.
Yeah.
So we want to be part of the fun, but it's also based on shopping.
Well, and I think that's an excellent point too, because like you do get that community feeling where I think a lot of us can agree, if you were very into Halloween, you were kind of in an isolated silo until the beauty of the internet, like, wow, there's so many other people who are deeply unwell about Halloween as well. And so that's been a really great bonding experience, but also like, oh, well, they have that really cool pumpkin and maybe I need that really cool pumpkin. And it's just, it builds and builds and builds until it like almost becomes a weird competition.
Yeah. And also,
it just feels a little icky.
Too.
Yeah.
It's like you need.
Yeah, I feel like being in Belgium, I'm slightly more safe from this, because a lot of shops either don't ship to the EU or they don't have an IOSS, meaning I'd have to pay through the nose on customs fees. We have the highest customs fees of the entire EU. I mean, it's 17.5 euros, which is near 20 bucks just for customs to do their work.
Wow.
So you pay more for customs to do their actual job than you'd pay on VAT, which they charge. So that limits the amount of shops I can actually buy from. But I have a lot of friends who are willing to help me out to get stuff, and I'm just like, oh no. So but I totally agree. And we are getting like TK Maxx in the UK has already got some Halloween things in, so it's flat out code orange already. Or is it HomeSense? One of them. Have to beat both.
So Chelsea, what's our official definition?
All right.
Yeah.
So the definition, you guys are pretty close. the concept that an ever-expanding consumption of goods is advantageous to the economy.
Yeah.
Advantageous.
Which, as we know,
To whom though?
pros, as we've already kind of covered, just that connectivity of, well, they're marketing to all these people. Clearly, people want to buy this. So clearly, there's more people like us out there who are interested in these things. But at the same time, it's that buy. We want you to keep buying. So if we keep making things and marketing to you, you're going to put more money into our economy, which, double-edged sword, does that really help or not?
Well,
On the flip side, if you are on a budget, this also means there's more items in thrift stores.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are like, I need to have, especially with the entire FOMO from like the internet, like for instance, it's a silly example, but Disney has these little pumpkin pails, you know? And in 2022, they had different ones in 2023. And a friend of mine, Marsh, Halloween Homemaker, they were actually saying that they could find the last year's ones in thrift stores because everybody wanted the new ones. So if you're on a budget, you don't have to have the new thing. Like, I think it's very important that we, as the Halloween crowd, start emphasizing that it's okay to have a few items and you don't have to have the latest things. You can do really cool things with like just the same thing over and over again. Even if you just make it yourself, thrift it, it doesn't have to cost like, what were the Joann's prices for jack-o'-lanterns? Was it $150? It was like really
it was something
For that giant pumpkin, it was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
I'm just saying you don't have to have like the big box items. You can do it. But of course that does mean that you have to go in against the FOMO and the, oh my God, everybody has it, so we have to have it, you know?
Yeah. And I think, like, to your point, if you're making it, then that's something that's a little more special and personalized to you. But something along those lines of where, you know, everybody wants the newest, the hottest thing. I remember, I forget what it was, but it seems like every year there's always some, like, holy grail item that comes up that's at Home Goods or TJ Maxx. And my personal stores locally are not that great, so I very rarely actually see these great items that come through. But I remember the one year, and I forget what the big holy grail item that year was, but I was like, oh, I saw it at the store, and I was like, oh, like, just like this overwhelming, like, there it is, there it is. It's not my style. It's nothing I like. I would never add that to my collection, but because everyone online has been talking about it, it's like this overwhelming, like, do I need to buy that? No, it doesn't add to your personal joy. It does not add to your collection. You would never have even looked at it if all these people weren't talking about it.
But that's what they're pinning on. They're pinning on you not having the awareness.
Exactly.
To think, oh, this is my style. They're like, oh, I have to buy it because everyone else does.
Everybody wants it, so it must be good, right?
Yeah. That's the advantage of that's the advantage of stores that have actual websites. Then you can just say like, okay, I am going, so say like Target. And I know they have the Halloween range out. So what I'll do is I'll look at the website, see what they have, and just say like, okay, what fits in my budget? What actually is an addition to my collection that I will have in my collection for many, many years to come? Be it a fashion item, a decor item, whatever. And then just like make a list and say like, okay, this is the list and I'm sticking to it no matter what. And that might actually help. That's what I'm trying to do now with Tiger and Hema, which are the only two that are fairly reliable to release a lot of Halloween things over here.
That's so good, because like also like having an idea of what you like, because then you are going to accidentally buy, like one year I bought this really hideous shower curtain with like skeletons on it. Like I don't know why I bought the shower curtain, but it's like, this isn't my style, and it's still in the wrapper. And it's like, so when you know what your style is and what you're looking for specifically, then you're not going to be tempted for something shiny in the corner that you see, or things you see on Instagram that people want. That's not your style.
Does it
really
it's not have the problem?
It's not because, sorry.
Oh, but
so you go ahead.
Like along those lines of like, why did I buy that? That's not my style. Especially this time, like in the quote unquote off season, if you see something Halloween at a store and you're like, oh, there you are. It's something, and you're like, oh, I like Halloween, and you just want something to feel good, and you're like, but this doesn't. You just want it because it's there. Not because it means anything to you. Like I do that a lot. I'll be like, oh, and I'll put it in my cart, and I'm like, why do you have this? Put this back. You do not need this. You don't even want it. It's just orange, and you got really happy about it for a second.
It's a dopamine rush.
Yes,
it
is.
Yeah.
True. Very true.
Dopamine.
Yeah, yeah. We should have like a database with Halloween printables. So if you need like that dopamine kick, you can just go and print something.
I
Do like a
probably
Halloween Wordle or something, you know, something that gives you that dopamine but costs you very little money or nothing.
I just will get on eBay and like window shop at like vintage
Yeah.
Halloween stuff, and I'm like, I know I'm not gonna buy any of it, but I just really want to see some blow molds right now, and like I'll just do that, and then like my eyes hate staring at screens that long, and then I go, okay, I'm done, but I still got that joy out of it and spent no money on it.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm the same.
That's how I feel when I go to a Velvet Apparition. She like auctions old antiques, but she doesn't just do like Victorian style antiques. She does put on like Halloween vintage stuff. And I'm like, oh, I just love looking at it. Thankfully, the price tag is just high enough that I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to go buy it. But
it's not going to happen, but it sure is pretty to look at.
Yeah. Do y'all
Yeah.
that like you buy things for your fantasy self? Like the fantasy version of yourself, like in your head. Like I feel like social media like has this like fantasy person you're supposed to be. And I feel like the Halloween community has, oh, this person is like, as a Halloween person, this is what I'm supposed to look like. Do you buy things to sort of go into that fantasy? Like I have a lot of Halloween purses that are like not my style, but I just like, they're so cute. I'm like, oh, I could start wearing this, but then I never pick it up because it's not my style. But I'm like, my fantasy self would wear that. Maybe I'll wear that one day. Like, do you guys have that problem? Or
to a certain extent, like I'm really bad with like clothes, so I have a ton of Halloween clothes, and like this dress I've had for 800 years. Like I've had most of them for a long time, but I'm really bad about like I'll get stuff and then like to your point of like, wow, that would go really good with this one Halloween shirt I have. So I have like this one outfit and it would go with nothing else. But because in that beautiful fantasy version of some random event that I will wear both of these things to, I'm like, great, now there's like 12 more things in my closet that I will maybe wear once. I definitely like with clothes with that, I'm really bad.
I blame social
media.
I
definitely have gotten a lot better about it. And even like the things that are not really my style is like a super warm skeleton sweater I wear to my painting class where it's always cold, so it does get worn like so much in winter, so it doesn't really, you know, they've all got use, and I wear everything. And I can also sew, so I've discovered that even if I order fabric from Joann's, who thankfully do have an ASOS, whatever it's called, whatever the thing that lets me not pay customs, but basically even if I buy fabric from Joann's, it's still cheaper than buying a dress from, say, Unique Vintage, because those prices are absolute murder, and I'm not really familiar with their fit, so it might not fit and need alteration. And I kind of feel less bad just going into a pattern and saying, like, I'll just make this a size too big, just, you know, to be on the safe side. I feel a lot less bad having to take apart something I've made to make it fit than having to take something apart that cost me like 145 euros, you know, or more. And also I have so many Halloween clothes that I just need sleeveless tops now because summer, you know.
I've got the summer Halloween wardrobe, the Halloween wardrobe, and the winter Halloween wardrobe. Like, yeah, let's not talk about how much I've spent at Unique Vintage. Let's not talk about that one. But yeah, especially their sizing, it is woefully inconsistent. So
yeah, that's what I heard. So I was like, okay, and I was like, I like this, but if that had been a skirt, I would have been more inclined because there would have been less margin for error, and you need so much fabric for swing skirts that is usually like kind of toss up between can I do it cheaper or not. But yeah, what I'm doing now personally is just like, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go through all my Halloween stuff, and I have time because I will not see any Halloween in stores till like half of August at the earliest for me. So I'm just gonna go through all my stuff, the stuff that I literally don't use anymore. I'm just gonna put it in a box and go to the thrift store and be in September when they will want to put it out and be like, here, deal with this. I don't want it anymore. It's fine. And I'm just gonna see what I have and just see like, okay, what do we still want to add to this decor that fits our house? And just like be like that. And maybe like, because I do collect trick-or-treat stuff sometimes. Well, if I really like it, I just don't buy everything. So I'm just gonna like make a list and stick to the damn list this year.
That's a good idea. That's such a good idea. So you're not buying a bunch of random stuff.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, just, it like, every time I see Halloween stuff in Tiger or in Hema, I want to get it because I want to encourage them to keep doing Halloween stuff. But on the other hand, I'm like, if I just buy a bunch of Halloween candy, it also sends the message, and I'll eat that anyway, you know. And they'll probably have things that really do fit my decor and stuff. So I will likely buy a pumpkin, or I'll pick stuff up for friends abroad who are like, hey, I'd love that. And Tiger doesn't ship to us, and we don't have a Tiger, or we don't have a Hema. And I'm like, yeah, you know, we'll sort it out for each other, and you know, so they'll see money from me anyway, regardless if it's for me or not.
I've always wanted to start like some kind of like, back in the olden day, think of old school like message boards, but like of some kind of like,
oh yeah,
of like an online swap meet for Halloween people of like, hey, you know,
That's a good idea.
these dresses don't fit me anymore. Would you like that? You know, try and connect people, like a kind of just online thrift Halloween focus.
yeah, but that would be like a really good idea to also curb consumerism, because Chelsea, you had like a really good question, and I wrote it down, like ways to celebrate Halloween without the stuff.
Yes.
But we're not there yet, so I'll keep my mouth shut for now.
I'm also very excited for that question though, because I think, and if I jump ahead, which maybe I will, but since you said it, I think we've kind of lost sort of the spirit of Halloween to a certain extent, of like,
So
we see it with stuff more so than experiencing it.
I also feel like, because we're the crowd that does Halloween year round, you know, like if I move aside, I'm not sure how well it shows, I have a Halloween pillow, I have 2 Universal Monster plushies, I have Sam, I have a giant furry pumpkin and a bat, you know. I have Halloween stuff out year round, just like you guys, you know. Not like, it's not taking over my house, but I mean, we have a pumpkin by the door year round that says welcome. We have a jack-o'-lantern sitting in our window at our front door, like all the time. So we have a spiderweb gate, for crying out loud. We are the Halloween house, like whether Beth likes it or not, my husband. But that aside, we're those people. And I feel like maybe we're the people that should pull things back on track with alternatives to the buy, because I see so many people, like influencers, you know, like who love Halloween. I'm not going to sit here and say like that they don't love Halloween. I'm sure they honestly are super into Halloween once it's spooky season. But they're, in the first place, a lot of people getting sponsored by these big box stores. Because I see like people from inside the community getting sponsored, and that is so cool, because that is finally giving recognition to Halloween creators, like the year-round spooky life people. But I see the majority is people who are not part of the Halloween community, who just show up for spooky season, and that is absolutely okay, absolutely. But it's just like, okay, now it's spooky season, so they're gonna go full on hard Halloween, and they have tens of thousands of followers. So they're the ones that are also like causing FOMO in people. And I think they're part of the quote unquote problem that might chase people away or give people the impression that you have to buy and have to have stuff. Whereas if you go look at like people in the Halloween community, you will see that there some, like Laura, you have loads of things, which is totally fine, but like others will have less things, you know. And you can totally see that if you have a proper look around, that everybody has their own style, and not everybody has a house full of Halloween. So you can absolutely, if that is your thing, and you know, and you can just like plan and budget it to make that happen, go for it, do what makes you happy. But if it's not your thing and you just want, say, like 5 jack-o'-lanterns, that is also okay. And you can absolutely do like super cool content year round with those 5 jack-o'-lanterns. Am I making sense here?
Yeah. I think you're totally, also like, I think that's so cool about this community is that we're all different artists, and we all have different takes, and we all love what each other does.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it could be having a loss over having just, 5 jack-o'-lanterns, like we were saying, and it's still cool to see what people do and how it's our passion for it. And I think like if we could get away from, I mean, obviously it's not our fault, it's our society and social media that says you need this thing, buy this thing. Like, and it applauds people that are selling things on social media, that are being sponsored on social media. Like you get clout that way, but like,
yeah,
it's more about experiences, because I think what we really love about Halloween is experiences we had as like a child, trick-or-treating, and like if we could get back to experiences and not like, if you have this watch, it'll like make you, you know, extra special. Like, you know, that's what society tells us. So like, I think for me, I want to try and focus on getting back more to experiences.
That's something that I've looked at, of like very consciously trying to, I have a whole like Halloween budget. I've got a whole separate like bank account for Halloween, because otherwise it just gets out of control. And so I'm like, I know that this is how much I have. So whereas like Hilda, you're talking about like you have a list of things that you're like, hey, I'm interested in this. I'm like, I have a set amount, and like if something sparks joy and I'm like, hey, if that's in the budget, great. If not, too bad. Try again next year. But so that's one of the things where, versus stuff, I've tried to make the conscious decision of like, well, okay, yeah, you could buy these things, or you could go to Salem.
Yeah.
You know, you could go, you could take a trip. You could go to Halloween Town. You could go, you know, visit your local corn maze 800 times. Like, go every weekend in October. Do whatever makes you happy, but just making those conscious decisions of what means the most to you and where you want to put your dollars. I think having that conscious decision making is what is really important, and we do get caught up in the FOMO and the I gotta have it, and it's like, take a step back, take a minute, and let's think about it. What do you want out of this experience?
I wish in Belgium, because I'm gonna tell you something, and you're all gonna be really sad. I've never gone trick-or-treating as a child because it was not a thing. It was not a thing.
You made me so sad.
I think the first trick-or-treaters I ever had at my door was in 2019. And I was so happy. I was like, oh my god, there's trick-or-treaters. And it was one group of children. One. And last year I wasn't home for Halloween, but my neighbor was, and she said there was one group of teenagers trick-or-treating. This is Belgium. There's like areas where they've properly set up trick-or-treating. I've taken to putting a street sign up saying like, trick-or-treaters, welcome.
Come this way, come this way. We have
Come here, you can get candy. Usually we have loads of Halloween candy, and we end up handing it out at another like event where kids show up at the door and sing a silly song to get candy, which is on the New Year's Eve. So the candy does not expire. But that is how things are here. And experience-wise, you can either go to a theme park who are doing haunts, and that is only providing you can stand jump scares, because they will jump scare the heckens out of you outside as well. So if you have like medical conditions that don't allow for jump scares, that is not gonna happen. Kasterlee, a town not super far from me, like an hour, they, on the other hand, are the pumpkin town of Belgium, and it's like pumpkin sharking, like giant pumpkin weighing. It's kind of, I went to their market last year, and it was kind of like, what the heck? It was kind of more like pumpkins and not Halloween. I was the only person dressed up, and people were like, not okay with it. I did not care. I got pumpkin ice cream, but I was like, yeah, this is literally my reason for being here.
We'll suffer judgment for pumpkin ice cream every time.
Literally that. I was just like, I'm just here for the ice cream, guys. But yeah, just that's the extent of it. Like, I have gone to Disneyland Paris so many times for the Halloween season just to have Halloween. So, like, I kind of wish that Europe would like pay more attention to the US and import some of the consumerism, so we get like more options that don't cost an arm and a leg. Of course, there are Halloween parties like Luddites, but it's on like a fun one, and that's like 15 euros to go to, and you get a free drink and stuff. So, and free candy all evening. So,
well,
but
it is slightly off the topic, but just because of what you said, that is something that's always I've kind of struggled with, of finding out what Halloween as an adult looks like.
Yeah.
Because trick-or-treating, 10 out of 10. If anybody needs a babysitter on Halloween, I will kidnap your children and take them door to door happily. Like, I just need small children in my life to take trick-or-treating. And I'm trying to become a haunted house person. Yes, Chelsea, I got you. Give me those kids. We'll have fun. I got you. I'm taking them trick-or-treating. But, so I'm trying to become a haunted house person simply because I want something to do on Halloween.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people like to stay at home, but I really just feel like there's something just beautiful about being out on Halloween. So even if I'm just like walking around, I don't care. I just want to be out. So I'm trying to ignore the jump scares and just look at the decorations. So I went to my first haunted house last year, and I got in so much trouble with my friends that I went with because they were like, "Where's Bailey? Where is she?" And I heard one girl yell, "She's back there staring at the stupid werewolf." I'm like, it was a really nice werewolf. Like, I was just in love with all the decorations.
We need to learn how to teleport so we can just go stare at werewolves together.
Right? Like, I'm sorry, it was a really nice werewolf. I have not.
Oh yeah, one of the zoos in Belgium.
I've seen the decorations somewhere else, like, because from haunters, from home decor, like all that stuff. Like, I've seen a lot of it. So if it's something that I haven't, I'm like, where did you buy this? Where did you buy this?
Tell me.
Which is not what you're supposed to be doing when you're at a haunted house, apparently.
That is also a thing I feel that we could do as a community, you know, to make it more accessible and welcoming for people. Tag creators, like, mention where you got it. Even if you had it for like 5 years, still say where you got it. Because even if you are wearing a piece from, say, UNIQLO from last year, which I'm doing now, and for some reason UNIQLO has not picked up on the fact that we want more orange clothes, but okay. So yeah, just tag people, mention them. So if only so people know, okay, I could go look at that store. Even though I might not find something, there might be an opportunity for me to get a piece regardless. Or even if you've made something, like say like, okay, oh yeah, I made this myself and I use this pattern, you know? Make it accessible to others as well. Like, say, this is where I got my fabric, this is where I got my pattern, or your craft tutorial or whatever. Just like, it gives like more accessibility. It makes people feel welcome. If you just like, if you know, it's just a comment, answering a question. And I'm not saying like answer like things that are like obviously there already. Like, you don't, some people are just out to get on your nerves. I mean, like, I'm not saying feed the trolls, but I feel like it's easy enough to see like who is just like really enthusiastic about Halloween and who's just like, why are you doing Halloween in June? I'm not okay with it. Some kind of stupid comments,
like,
you know?
Don't talk to those people.
Because we do this all year. Like,
Like, we're already there. But yeah, talking about tagging people, like, even if it's something that like, oh, I bought this, 10 years ago at whatever shop, with the like growth in like Depop, Poshmark, Mercari, like all the online things, that helps me search it online secondhand too. Like, okay, sourpuss, pumpkin dress, maybe that'll help me find something that I wouldn't have found otherwise. So it's just so helpful.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And I love, oh my gosh, so sorry. I lost my train of thought.
I hope you feel better soon.
There we go. So I love that, because you mentioned how, like, even if it's something we've made, one thing I've really appreciated being part of the Halloween community is we're not secretive about like how we try to assemble something. I think that's like the heart and all the home haunters and just like all the Halloween DIYers and crafters is we're always so open about sharing the process and being like, I did this. And sometimes people are even like providing like the actual patterns or like, here's the digital file or whatever. We're always so open about that, which is such a great way. And I feel like it almost makes me think of like when it brings me back to like my childhood when my mom would be making activities like the lollipop ghosts and stuff. And, she showed me how to do it. And now I'm doing it with my kids. And we're almost embodying that when I see everybody sharing like their how-tos and whatnot. It's like we're doing our childhood actions of Halloween in that way. So I love it. It's like we're not just focusing on what did we get in our pumpkin pail this year. We're also like, look what we did today. Orange and black. Come
Look how I made my pumpkin pail. You would make one too. Yeah.
I'd love to do that, I'm gonna do that with a friend of mine. And we're just gonna go like, because she lives like an hour and a half away from me. So what we're going to do is just like turn on Instagram, video chat or Whereby or whatever, and just be like, okay, we're going to do this, and we're going to make papier-mâché pumpkin pails like the olden days. We're just gonna go and have at it. And she's an actual papier-mâché artist, so she can give me pointers. And then I can give everybody else pointers, and she can as well. So that, that makes it more fun for everyone.
It does. Well, and one of the projects I've been working on for the past couple years, but timing is a heck of a thing. And if you're ever building big Halloween props, that's an undertaking and takes up a lot of room. But like, I got it's all welded. I just need to do the fancy, like the, paper mache and cloth and all of the monster mud and all of that. But
still takes
where I got
a lot
that
of
was,
time.
it does, it absolutely does. But where I got the whole plans for that was Halloween Forum, which was like my bread and butter of like all these haunters sharing step-by-step details of like, here's how we did it. Also, we tried it this way, did not work, don't recommend. Or, you know, hey, I tried this specific product, it was terrible, pick anything else, you know. But just the very helpful community element of it that's the best part of this world, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Is
Agreed.
all of the people that we're getting to hang out with and learn from.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think with the consumerism, sorry, Chelsea, you go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Okay, I think that with the consumerism and so many like seasonal accounts, so to speak, going Halloween, I think it's also very hard for people to find the Halloween crowd that could help them build the stuff they want to build and do the things they want to do, or maybe become spooky people year round themselves, even though they want to. But it's just kind of hard because you're following this influencer and then suddenly they go full on Halloween and you love Halloween. So you're just like kind of sticking with these people rather than going out and venturing. And also Instagram with the algorithm, because they're pushing these people specifically, it's also kind of hard to find the other creators. So that also doesn't help to curb the entire thing and to find the people that are actually like setting you in a different path than buy and only buy big box. And like, because I feel like there's so many cool small creators that do such amazing things, you know, and it's not necessarily more expensive than you pay for something at, especially if you're shopping at stuff like the Universal online store or Shop Disney, you know, or like some of the big brands. So I'm just like,
but you're almost always getting better quality from the small shops.
Oh, yeah.
And you know,
also true.
You're always getting better quality, and you actually, your money's making a difference. Like, I would much rather my money's going to help pay somebody's electric bill than, oh, Disney got another $50.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
The small business.
I have enough Disney Halloween. I don't need more. I'm not shopping there.
Lori,
They have to come out with something amazing.
Laura, I missed what you were saying.
What was I just saying? Oh,
Sorry, Laura.
like, I was just saying that like the big corporations don't need our money as much as small businesses do, and like they're all like artists and like original people, and so when you're like on Etsy buying things, like that's what Bailey was saying was like more supportive for other people than just buying Disney stuff, which I definitely approve of.
As a small business creator yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And it's more exciting because it's not like everyone's not going to have what you find on Etsy or whatever shop that the small business person made. Like it's really unique and like it speaks to your soul. And it's like, oh, I found this, and you have a cool story about the person who made it, how you found it, versus you just went to Home Goods and bought, you know, something random.
Right.
And also
half the time I found like it's a great way to make new friends too.
Yeah.
Like the amount of people like, oh hey, you know, now I have this buddy who owns this shop of, you know, they do all this stuff. And I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I do that to Valentine all the time because she makes papier-mâché brooches, and I'm just constantly like, can you make me this? And obviously, I pay her for it. I pay what everybody pays for it, you know? But I'm just going like, can you make me this? Can you make me this? Can you make me this? And then she does. And I have this like super unique piece for my collection or just to wear, and that gives me joy all the time, you know?
Yeah.
So.
For sure. All right, so we are at the 20-minute mark, so I really want to make sure we do touch on that last question because everyone seemed really excited about that. No, we've already been touching on it a bit, but I definitely want to go in and have that conversation about what are ways we can celebrate Halloween without the stuff, because there's all these great ways of even just finding small business stuff. But if you just are that person who's not in that financial space to even invest in the small businesses, because they do tend to have a little bit higher price tag than the big box stores, which when you're able to support them and you want to do that, please do. But what are other ways that we can celebrate Halloween without focusing on
this might be silly, but you have to eat anyway. So instead of buying a bunch of cheap plastic pumpkins, why not look up pumpkin recipes and like just Halloween recipes and just, you know, moving those into your grocery list and like making your own Halloween stuff, you know, your own Halloween foods, and carve the pumpkins, and you can have pumpkin pie, pumpkin soup, pumpkin. There's so many things you can do with a pumpkin. Other than carve it, you know, it's full of edibles inside, and it makes a cool decoration on top. And I have a whole list of things here. Organize movie night with your friends, and you know, borrow DVDs, stream DVDs, you know, stream movies, not stream DVDs, but like, you know, just like borrow from others. You want to go to a costume party that somebody's hosting, you don't have anything, maybe like, if you don't find anything in your closet, because you'd be surprised how far you can get with just bandages and clothing, you know? If you want to be, say, a mummy, you could always see, like, does a friend have a witch hat that I can borrow? You know? Stuff like that. It doesn't actually have to be expensive. I mean, I lived literally most of my life without Halloween things because it was not a thing here at all. And we can hate on Disney whatever we want, but it's kind of Disneyland Paris going bigger with their Halloween that kind of pulled the rest on as well to do Halloween stuff. So, you know, it's kind of thanks to them that there's more things. But before they did, I had to literally make do, you know? So I'm very good at like doing Halloween without the stuff. But yeah, like, there's so many like good movie recommendations on the internet, on YouTube. Even like if you have little ones, movies that you can watch with them that are available on streaming services that are often available online. I remember like a couple of years ago, they were doing 24 hours where they would just stream on YouTube, and it was free. All the Hocus Pocus movies on no, not Hocus Pocus, Halloween Town movies on a loop. Stuff like that, you know? Yeah. You can find so many fun movies that somebody put on YouTube and YouTube has not taken down yet. And you can just like watch those. Doesn't cost you anything. Then like the food I've mentioned. Do things with your friends. If you do have some Halloween things and you like new ones and you know you have literally no budget, maybe see if you can organize a swap meet with people. You know, there's so many fun things you can do that cost you literally nothing.
Laura, how about for you? What are some things that you would suggest, or what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of things you can do, like just with a group of friends. Like, you know, Are You Afraid of the Dark, the old show from like the 90s? Like, just get together and share scary stories. You could even write your own stories.
Midnight Society, love it.
Like put it in your backyard, like meet up with you guys in the backyard. You could have like a picnic in the cemetery with like a Halloween decor, like with your friend. Like, there's things we could do. I mean, the problem is like when I live in Texas and it's 100 degrees in October, that's hard. But I mean, you could do it inside. You could like, you know, dim the lights. I love
you've got leaves inside. You can make it work.
Yeah. You do.
I think we can do a lot with it. So it's more just like community driven, and you're making more memories that are related to Halloween, which make you love Halloween more. And it's not about like buying things.
Yeah. How about for you, Bailey? Suggestions, things you have done in the past. What about you?
I definitely second the food thing. I love food so much, but especially any kind of like Halloween recipe. I tell you, I'll be making all kinds of Halloween treats, and it's something that's fun to do. You can get your family involved, you can get your friends involved. You can just put on your Halloween playlist, set up in the kitchen, and make a ton of Halloween cookies, witches' fingers. It's all so delightful. So that's something I always really like to do. I like an activity. I'm very ADHD brain needs something to do at all times. And then I do love you guys talk a lot about like, hey, hang out with your friends, do all this stuff. And I very much support that, but as a sad little loner girl where all my friends are like on the corners of the world.
Well, do it online, you know, set up an activity and go on video chat.
Yeah. So like that's something that I'm trying to work towards getting people involved. But I like to go out and go to the corn maze. And even if that's I just want to go out and go to the corn maze. Anytime that I can be outside in October, I love that. So I absolutely love the idea of having like a little midnight society gathering, telling spooky stories, having a little Halloween party. And I think we can reevaluate what it means to have a Halloween party. I think we have kind of like this very specific idea in our head. Like I love to have a Halloween sleepover where the couple people I do know that are local, like, hey, everybody come over, potluck style, bring your own stuff. We can make some fun snacks. We can watch spooky movies. We can do some spooky crafts. All stuff that's just kind of the stuff you would have done when you were 12 anyway. which I think fits really well with the nostalgia of Halloween in and of itself. So I think it's just a really fun time. And there's no limit to what you can do. You do not have to buy stuff.
No. Well, I saw
But-
one thing I loved was that Penny Snark on here, she did a Halloween kickoff party last year. So it
Oh
was
yeah, I remember that. That was so awesome.
all decorated by October 1st. And so that first weekend of October, she had her Halloween party. And I think it was a sleepover. I'm not sure. But so you're going into the Halloween season with that energy of like, I got to spend time with my friends. And again, I know that's hard if you like don't have a local social group like mine for sure. I am pretty much isolated at this point. My kids are
Same.
my
I mean, what do I have to say? I'm on literally another continent than you guys.
So it can be challenging, but it's also a great excuse to kind of like go out and check even like the harvest festivals and start eyeing the people who are already wearing like Halloween stuff. It takes a lot of courage, but going up to them and being like, hey, I love your outfit. Did you know I love Halloween too? Like, we should
do that. I have no shame.
One of these days, there's a house not too far from me that they go all out for Halloween. They've got like a skeleton horse and carriage and cowboy, and like it's insane.
Wow.
And I'm just like, okay, what is the least creepy way to knock on their door and be like, hi, would you like to be best friends? Because we definitely should. Haven't quite worked out the phrasing of that.
Maybe just like knock on their door and say like, hey, I just wanted to come by and say that I love your decor because I also love Halloween, so I'm super into this. Maybe see how they react to that.
The whole like, yeah, I've peeked in your windows too. Your inside decor is great. Like, I'm more chopping a little
maybe
bit.
Maybe not.
Don't lead with that. Okay, good.
Maybe find one of the friends and practice with first.
I'll work on that.
Which I think can be adapted for adults too. When I was growing up, we were lucky in like the prime of my childhood. Right next door was a family of 4 girls as well, because I'm part of 4 daughters. So we all went to our local corn maze, which was just like 10 minutes from our houses. And then we came back to our house and everyone had to write a spooky story about the corn maze. And then we had to send each other as a group. So it was like you did an activity where you went, but I would almost as an adult do the reverse, where you have like a Mary Shelley night, right? Everyone gets together about the event that you're going to, and then I'll go to that event, and then you've got those stories in your mind, and
I love this.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
And plus then you've already got something to talk about too. Like if, there whatever feature in your story, if you see something similar, like, oh my gosh, it's just, oh, I love this.
So while you guys are talking, oh yeah, I did that. Well, that would still be fun to do as adults. And it's still like that whole vibe, because I do think like going to the harvest festivals and the corn mazes, and like I grew up in Manteca, so it's like the heart of Central Valley. It is like 114 from like May 1st through November 20th, and then all of a sudden it's cold. But so, right, it's pretty hot. Like October is in the 90s for sure. It's not until, if we're lucky, Halloween night might get down into the 70s, and it's like, oh, relief. But it would still be fun. Like we had a local pumpkin festival that was the first weekend of October. So I would definitely encourage people to be looking at those. And most of the time, they're free for entry. You don't really have to put any money into it other than just trying to get there. And
a secondary point on that is if you are truly deranged, you can always host a Halloween festival in your local community as well. I used to, back in the olden days at my last job, I worked at a public library, and I was like, what if we did like a giant Halloween festival? So with that position, I had that opportunity, but really, if you're willing to figure out the permits and a location and work within the community, if you don't have anything nearby and you are insane and have some extra time or a caffeine addiction, you can definitely make your own fall festival, Halloween festival, and be that in your community. But yeah, it's not an easy task, but it's definitely possible.
I think I'll start with my street. There's lots of kids on my street, and
A
you know,
block
like
party
just like
also
the
works.
promos of the free candy might do it. I keep on telling my nieces, like, tell all your friends at volleyball and art school there is free candy on Halloween. You just have to come on trick or treat.
In my house.
I missed, what was
I
that
mean,
last
I
one?
don't understand these children. Why do you resist the lure of the free candy?
Parents have overcorrected. Now they won't take any candy from strangers, not even on Halloween.
Oh, right. So I think this has been a wonderful, well-rounded conversation. We kind of touched all those points without me even having to really bring it up in like, now what do you think of this? So I love this.
Maybe it helped that you gave us your list of questions beforehand and we had time to kind of like go into them.
So I would love everyone to just kind of keep those points that we all discussed in mind and be mindful, be sharing those spooky shops, tagging them, even if it was 10 years ago or when you got it as a kid, or sharing your Halloween traditions, sharing where you're going for your Halloween fixes, whether it's your local spirit store or your local haunted festival. And
my God.
even just like sharing all the projects, including the fails, because someone else could learn from that too. We have mentality of it has to be picture perfect for the gram, but I have loved seeing more and more of everyone here in the Halloween community like sharing, hey, this was my fail project, but I thought it was important to still share it, and someone else might see that idea and be like, oh, I would do that approach and see how that would turn out, and then it's like, hey, look what I did, I think you should give it a try again.
Well, and that's one of my favorite things about Halloween perpetually is that it doesn't have to be perfect.
No.
The messier it is, oh, it's dirty, oh, there are cobwebs. Like, guess what? That fits. Nothing has to be perfect for it to be good in this holiday world.
Agreed.
Yeah, and perfectionism is an illusion. It's all fake.
Absolutely.
So,
Perfection is for people who have a lot more time and are professional influencers. I'm sorry, but I don't have the time, to spend. And then, I mean, for people that are doing this professionally, respect,
Yeah.
Because I mean, just shooting a flat lay, how time consuming it can be to get everything in the frame and then everything in focus and yada yada yada. Or to make a painting, you'll understand as well, Laura. But I'm just saying, like, these people in some of their houses with sponsored stuff, and I'm just like, how much time do you have to spend on this? And then making the videos and all the content that they're contractually obliged to make. I'm like, this is no joke, Yeah. So I mean, like, if that is your job, you put that time in. But if it's not your job, you're just like, no, this will do. This is also cool.
That's literally my whole approach. I'm like, I barely have time to do a blog post, let alone a YouTube. Like, it's just chaos.
Yeah.
I always feel bad because I'm woefully inconsistent. But at the end of the day, I'm here because it's fun. And when it stops being fun, then
I just like, I hope I managed to convey that I'm not like being hateful or spiteful to people. I mean, like, everybody do everybody, but I'm just saying, like, if it's your job, you have the time to put that in because you have the work hours. Yeah, exactly.
Realistic. Yeah, exactly. And I think because the influencers are the ones you see so much that it's like, wow, why can't I stand up to that level? They can do it. Well, that's their whole job.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they do for a living. Like, the rest of us don't. Like, but we're being suppressed by the algorithm, so that's why you see them and not us. Like, the regular people who are just doing their thing and enjoying the lifestyle, so to speak, and just be like, and also like the people like showing that you like other things. Like, Chelsea, you're super into like history and the Winchester Mystery House, and everybody has like I'm doing like steampunk stuff and like, journaling stuff and painting, and everybody has like their thing, and you don't see these people who are doing all these other things and still having that lifestyle going. And I'm sorry, Laura and Bailey, I just don't know you guys as well as I know Chelsea, so I don't know your hobbies, but I'm 100% certain you also have non-Halloween things that you do.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, so on that note, we need to make it our responsibility to just be sure that we're constantly sharing each other and bringing that variety to the community.
Yeah.
So as that, and we wrap up in our last 3 minutes, I do want to go around, make sure everyone can find each of you again. So as we go through, we're going to go from Hilda to Laura and then Bailey. Go ahead and let everyone know where they can find you, your handle, etc. So.
Okay, so I am Steam and Kittens, as Chelsea has made so nicely on here on Insta, and I am Shenanigans in Motion on YouTube. And I have a link in bio with stuff, so you can just like go and click that and find things.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then Laura.
I am Laura. I'm the Halloween collector here, and also Halloween Hill Studio, which is like my spooky painting, if you're into that. And I also am on YouTube at Vintage Halloween, where I talk about Halloween collecting and mostly ghost stories because I just yap about that. But yeah, so that's on YouTube. Yeah.
And then Bailey.
Hi, I am Chroma Witch. I'm primarily here on Instagram. I do have a YouTube, which has not been updated in forever, and this blog, which has a very terrible URL, but is currently located in my bio. It's under construction. But generally, if you want to find me, I'm over here on Instagram.
All right. Be sure to follow all these wonderful ladies. I will definitely be sure to link to all their stuff alongside this live in my stories. And when I get this posted up on YouTube, I will be sure to make the proper connections as well, because I think it's important that everyone who comes on here and has this discussion should also get the credit they deserve and get some of that exposure, because I've been following a handful of you for a long time, and some of you are newfound friends in this past year that I have just grown to love, but I'm like, I don't hear people talking about you as much as I really think they should be. So let's just be sure to make those connections and keep going. And I look forward to having more conversations like this if you guys are interested.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, one thing. Shout out to you and Eric for Sips and Spirits. Like, I mean, that is fair.
It's a great time.
Your Insta, so they clearly know how to find you on Insta, but you're also Sips and Spirits.
You are. And thank you for organizing this.
Yeah, absolutely. And like getting us all in line with your questions and like making sure that we all have a date and everything.
You did a fabulous job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very interesting topic that just kind of came up following someone else in another community, and I was like, this would be such a great conversation to have, and I'm so glad that you all volunteered to be a part of it. So that really means a lot to me, and I'm very much looking forward to celebrating the spooky season with everyone.
My light is going. But it's getting dark, so.
Yeah, and I want to not keep people around too long. It is an hour, and I do apologize for any of the comments. I did make notes of all the comments that are flying by here, so hopefully we'll be able to address some of those things, because I saw some interesting things pop by at a later time. But for now, I think this has been a wonderful, well-rounded conversation, and I look forward to seeing what you all are doing as Halloween season approaches.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so thank you, everyone.
Thank
Cheers
you.
and happy Halloween.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.